CherieHanson here. I've been away from my regular schedule of filming my videos because of taming my front and back yard so it didn't look like a crack house, or some abandoned, weed overgrown structure. Also, my Airbnb has been popping along, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. My Airbnb, what has it meant in my life? I think the biggest thing that has happened to me, being a host to people from all over the world, close to 2,000 people now, from every continent and many islands, is that it has widened my view of life. I grew up in a upper middle class, lower class family. That strata that's laboring, but they take on all these different jobs so that they end up being able to move into a neighborhood that has doctors and lawyers, but not us. The thing that has happened to my capacity for understanding life is just magical. I have had people come and stay in my house who don't have a house. It's not because they're homeless, it's because they made a decision to sell their house and the car so that they can work remotely everywhere around the world. And of course, for someone who was tied into the old system of you get a job and you work that job until they come and take your body out. Or maybe you've got like 2 years left of life on earth, so you retire and you can enjoy that tiny window. But these people have the ability to create opportunities for themselves, to create adventure for themselves, to have a dream, a vision, an urging, and to be able to take steps into that. And that's something that I had never seen before. People sitting in my house telling me that they have constructed their marriage around travel, that one of them every 2 or 3 years gets a job in another state or another country, and the other person will go along. But in the next 2 or 3 years, the person who went along will be the one that gets a job. So it's alternating who is driving, where they're going to live, and what type of employment that they will seek there. I've never seen that. I mean, it was like watching people walk on their hands. Like you can't do that, but they did. And there was a couple where she worked for the UN and she was helicoptered into areas of severe poverty and drought and lack of food. And she had a background in agronomy. So she would test the soil. She would find out what could grow in the conditions that she was finding there. She would send for the seeds or the corms or whatever it was that she had ascertained would survive. And then her next step of her job was to teach the village women how to cook that new food that was being introduced. Meanwhile, her husband, who was a technician on movie sets would go and he would work on his movie. And then they would get back together someplace they wanted to go. So it was a state of constant honeymooning. They're apart working on their own careers, and then they get together and they're going all over the world. And so many young people that I have met who are out to experience variety. They're out to experience different types of cultures, different types of food, different ways of living, different spiritual practices, different methods of surviving. And these people, and this is something I can say, having met so many of them, are very, very, very calm. They're not frightened of the slightest change in normal, because they have gone out into the world and experienced 100 different types of normal. And they have found that they're accepted, that people are kind to them, they're invited in, and that there's nothing to fear if people don't wear shoes, or if people, walk on platform sandals, or whatever they choose to do. It's not going to hurt you if someone chooses to live a way, a method, a tradition that you haven't experienced before, or don't understand yet. So this is what I have really benefited from in hosting Airbnb. What did we have? I had a man stay with me the other day that has been on every continent. He's spent 10 years just moving around to different continents. And I said, what do you do for work? And he said, well, I either work remotely or I take whatever job is there, because he sees himself as capable. This is the key to unlocking the cage door. If you see yourself as capable, then you learn something new. If you see yourself as strong, then you adjust when things shift. If you see yourself as supported, as loved by the universe, you're not living in a constant state of, I was thinking about the old TVs we had back when you had the rabbit ears. You have to keep adjusting, because everything that you see can cause static. It'll interrupt your vision of the world. Why are there horizontal lines? Why is it moving? Why can't I hear the sound? And the problem is in the reception. In our reception, because we're in a state where we are taught rejection. I don't understand this, so I will hate it. I will push it away. I will learn nothing from it, instead of being in a state where, wow, that's interesting. It's interesting to see that people do things in a different way, and they're completely content with it. It's not damaging them or damaging me or anything of that sort. And so the people come, they come from Fiji, they come from Tasmania, they come from the Arctic Circle, they come from the Caucasus Mountains and Kazakhstan, and each of the people that comes, I begin to understand over and over again the lesson. They are simply